So, good morning, everyone. It is pretty early. It's almost 3 a.m. And so I just wanted to kind of check in with everyone today. I know it's early, so shout out to all of my individuals that are still up, everyone that's still working, everyone that works the night shift, Um, and heck, it might be some people just now getting off and traveling home. So for those individuals that are up, thank you for being up with me. I just wanted to kind of do a temperature check-in with everyone, just for several reasons. It's been a lot. I don't know how everybody else feels, but it's been a lot going on in the world. I work in the mental health field, and one of the things that I'm seeing a lot is heightened anxiety and heightened depression. It's to another level. I think it's to another level, especially in the last couple of years. But what prompted me to come on just to do a temperature check-in with everyone is based off of conversations that I've had over the course of several months, specifically with my young adults. So, like I said, I'm doing a temperature check-in with everyone, and this is for adults, young adults, my high school kids, my elementary school kids. Parents, check on your kids, make sure that they are okay. Communicate with them in a way that they would want to open up to you, that they would want to express their feelings to you, because sometimes, from my experience and from what I hear, children sometimes have difficulty speaking to their parents about certain things, and fear that their parents won't understand. And I'm going to be really transparent. I was one of those parents. I have two wonderful boys. One of them is 7 and one of them is 18, and I adore them so much. They are just the love of my life, and I would do anything for my boys. And I remember my oldest son, when he was going through his stage, and he felt like he couldn't talk to me. And what I did as a parent, I remember going into his room, I sat down, and I just asked him, what can I do? And I just need you to help me understand. But here I am listening. I remember having the tendency to always talk or always give advice or always give suggestions of how to fix things. And my oldest son really just needed me to listen and really understand where he was coming from. And now we talk. Our conversations are so smooth now, and I do my best to try to understand his point of view. And what's really great about it is he now understands my point of view as well. So I think that it's important for us to talk to our children. So kind of back to what prompted me to come on is my young folks, and specifically my young men. I've seen a lot of, and I'm seeing a lot of heightened anxiety in young men, depression. And what I'm finding is that a lot of them are holding it in. These aren't individuals that have, psychiatric diagnoses. These are individuals that's been hospitalized or on medication. This is a regular young men that are going to school, that are possibly working, that are in relationships, and are struggling within, and they are unable to express themselves, or they feel as if they cannot express themselves, or let anybody know. So to my young men out there, if you are struggling with anything, if you are struggling emotionally, if you are struggling mentally, find someone to talk to. Find someone to talk to. Find someone that you trust. Because if you do not, and you keep holding it in, eventually you will erupt like a volcano. So find someone to trust. And to those that don't have anyone, grab a book, grab a journal, write in your journal, get those thoughts out. And I am a firm believer that when you are ready, seek a therapist. Seek a therapist. Find someone to talk to. I don't think that people can go through this world and make it alone. I think that we all need some type of a support system, whether it's a family support system, social support system with friends, or just, your peers or coworkers. We all need an outlet. We all need an outlet. So for my young adults, and specifically for my young men, find someone to talk to. It's very, very important. Very important. I had a conversation last week, and what I got, what I gained from that conversation, I was speaking to a young man, very good young man, good head on his shoulders, very respectful, and he's struggling with life, with the stresses of life, as we all do. And he feels he doesn't have anyone to talk to, or no one can understand him. And some of the things that he expressed to me, which I was honored. Let me say this. I am honored when anyone feel like they can come talk to me. I am honored. It's an honor for me. I feel for me, it's like, okay, they respect me enough and they trust me enough to come to me and to talk to me about what they're going through. For me, that's an honor. So let me start there. So parents, if your kids, and whomever, you don't even have to be a parent, but if someone can come talk to you and feel that comfortable and coming to speak to you about certain things, that is an honor. That is an honor. So I was honored that this individual decided to come to talk to me. And one of the things that I found was the pressures of life that was outlined, that he was facing. And I can agree with him. I think that there is a lot of pressure of for young men to succeed, to provide, to do well, to feel like they can't make mistakes. And that's what I gathered from the conversation I had with this young man. And I was glad to have that conversation. It was a good conversation. And one of the things that I did tell him was, we all struggle. We all struggle. I've been living this life for quite some time now, and this is what I struggle too. There are periods in my life that I've struggled, and there are periods in my life that I continue to struggle with. But I try to find different avenues to obviously find solutions to certain things and be able to move forward with life. But I do want my young adults to know you're going to make mistakes. There are decisions that you are going to make in life that at that time when you're making them, you may think that's the right decision. And you make them. And sometimes they turn out well, and then sometimes they don't. And that is what we call life. So we had that conversation about decision making. And we discussed some of the good ones, the good choices that he's made in his life, and some of the not so good choices that he made in his life. And then we talked about different ways to go about, maybe trying to reset, doing a hard reset, and gaining his focus back. And let's write down a plan. What is the plan to move forward? And one of the things that I did tell him is that he has family. Based off of we talked, he has family, and he is able to go home. He is able to go back home. He's able to go back home. Now, whether he wants to or not, that is obviously his choice. But I think that one of the things that I do want to talk about is our kids that are growing up. Our kids that are growing up, because they're going to make mistakes in life. They're going to do well in some areas, and then in some areas they may not do so well. So what do we do as parents? How do we support them? Are we parents that are willing, if our kids get stuck out there? And this world right now is way different from when I grew up. So when our kids get stuck out there and they feel like they are in a place in life where they feel like a failure, or they are not where they need to be financially, are your kids able to come back home? Are your adult children able to come back home? Now, for me, I have an 18-year-old right now. And I had this conversation with him. And I know this topic is so debatable, right? But I've told my son, and I know my son is he's a good person. He's very observant. Obviously he's 18. He has a lot of growing up to do. However, if one day he is out there in the world on his own, having his own place, working, and he's doing what he needs to do, and he gets stuck where things are just not working out for him, and he needs to reset, and he needs my help. I told my son, before I let him fall, he could pack all his stuff and come to my front door, because he is welcomed. He can always come back home. As long as I'm living, he can always come back home, because I don't want my child to feel like they can't come home. Or if they come home, that means they are a failure. No, life happens. My job is to make sure that my children, that I give them the tools, that I help them and I guide them as much as I can. And obviously there should be some accountability and responsibility on their parts. But as long as I'm living and my child is in need and they want to come back home, my door is wide open. Because there are children out there that can't go home for whatever reason, that just cannot go back home. I didn't have that opportunity. I didn't have that opportunity to go back. I wish I did. And it is by the grace of God, His mercy. And this is not a religious platform, but for me personally, it is through His grace and mercy that the stuff that I went through, I got through them. By His grace. So to my young adults out there, and my parents also, but to my young adults, find someone to talk to. It is very important that you do that. Do not hold it inside. And I know there's a lot of pressures in this world for you to do well, for you to succeed, for you to find a job, for you to get your own apartment. I know it's a lot of pressures. I know it's a lot of pressures. If you are feeling overwhelmed, you are feeling stressed, you are feeling depressed, please find someone to talk to. And if there is no one that you can talk to, again, utilize a journal or call our 988 line. Find somebody to talk to. And I also think that you can call 211 and find information also about just mental health and behavioral health. But find someone to talk to. And parents, check on your kids. Because there are some kids that won't say a word to you. Some kids you got to keep pressing. Like my son, he won't talk to you. He will not talk to me, but I question him all the time. And when I sense something ain't right, I keep at it. And I'll tell him, I don't care if you're annoyed or not. I feel like something isn't right. So when you're ready to talk to mommy is right here. But go talk to your kids. And parents, I like to hear from everyone, right? Are you that parent? And it's okay if you are wrong, right, or indifferent, right? Because nobody is right and nobody is really wrong here. Are you that parent that said, hey, come back home? You need to come back home? Come on over. Let's go. Come back home. Or are you that parent that says, no, I have given you everything you need. I have guided you. No, you cannot come back home. You cannot come back home. I would like to hear everybody's opinion about that. My young folks, please let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know how you're doing. This is Temperature Check-In Friday. How are you doing? We going into the weekend. How are you going into this weekend? Where are you? Where are you mentally and physically? Do you need a hard reset? If you need a hard reset, let's reset. Okay? So let's do a temperature check-in. Me, today, I am literally, my mood is okay. Right? I'm in a good mood today. I wouldn't really say like in a good mood, but I'm in a good place, basically. I'm not sad. I'm not overly happy. I'm just good. So let me know where you guys are in terms of mentally and physically. But again, I just wanted to say thank you for listening. My name is Gina. I am a mental health provider. I provide services in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Florida. So if anybody have any specific questions or would like any direction, with anything, just send me a message. But I do thank you guys for listening. Again, I want to say shout out to my parents, shout out to my young adults, shout out to my young children, and shout out to everybody that's working right now. Shout out to my healthcare workers out there. So thank you guys again for tuning in. And I'll see you guys next time.